All right, so over here we got the iD4 and iD14 Mark II audio interfaces from Audient. They are replacing the Mark Is, so naturally they come with an entirely new look, new internals, and I'm told they sound a lot better as well. So let's put them to the test, see how they sound, and open these guys up. So inside the box you get the unit itself, along with the USB-C to USB-C cable. For the specs, starting off with the iD4, it is a 2-in, 2-output interface. You get one console mic preamplifier, one discrete JFET instrument input, dual headphone outputs, and one speaker output. Size between the two are similar in depth and height, but as you would imagine, the 14 is wider to make room for some of its additional components. The iD14 is a 10-in, 6-output interface. You get two console mic preamplifiers, one discrete JFET instrument input, one ADAT input for digital expansion, dual headphone outputs, and two speaker outputs. Both have low latency monitoring via the software mixer. Both have the ID button, which we'll talk more about in a moment. And they both are USB-C bus powered and can record up to 24-bit at 96 kilohertz. And they both feature an all metal design that comes in a space gray finish. It's very similar to Apple's space gray color, and it's fairly hefty. Anytime you get an audio equipment and it's hefty and heavy, that's a good thing. And this just really feels like a solidly built interface. From the metals to the enclosure to the bottom to the base to everything is all metal, and it just feels really premium, but it doesn't come with that premium price tag. So the iD4 is $199 and the iD14 is $299. I believe that Audient set these interfaces to sell at those price points. The converters that you get inside, the A to D, D to A converters, or analog to digital, digital to analog converters, are really, really premium in these devices. For one, if you're used to a more entry-level interface, you'll instantly notice the output power that these will give you, and you'll definitely notice a difference in how the mic pre's translate in real-world use. Live recordings will sound fuller and more accurate. This is really what you pay for in audio interfaces. The higher the price point, the better these converters are, which equate to better sound input and better monitoring on the output. Audient, with this lineup of interfaces, really nailed the balance between price and quality. But as you step up in price point on interfaces, the quality of the converters, you really start to experience a diminishing return factor, which means the quality of the converters are good, but you're not going to hear a huge difference from that of a less expensive interface. I would put these converters alongside more expensive interfaces, but what I think you're getting here is a really good balance between price and quality of the device itself. So aside from the converters, you're also getting some unique features. Both have access to that handy and proprietary ID button that you can customize with several functions or use it in default mode for scroll control. Now, scroll control is really unique to these interfaces. It allows you to use this main knob right here as a controller for your DAW or any parameter in a plugin. All you gotta do is hit the ID button right here, hover over the parameter with your mouse in your DAW or plugin, and then move this to control that parameter. It's very simple and really, really useful. And second is the iD software mixer. And this comes really handy if you're in a recording setup. I'm sure we've all experienced this. We're trying to record an artist or yourself, and you're getting crazy latency between the microphone to the DAW to your headphones, and you don't know how to fix it. This software mixer will give you near zero latency recording, and highly recommended if you're recording anyone or anything. Pull this up. It makes life a whole lot easier. So it's fairly easy to use. You got your two analog inputs over here. Then you got your digital inputs, which I can turn off here because I personally don't use it. And then you got your three outputs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this correlates to whatever's happening in your DAW. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over here is your master mix, your Q mix, and your Q mix. So master mix could be yourself monitoring. QA could be, let's call it an artist mix. So a separate headphone mix for the artist itself. And QB, same thing as QA. And you can actually change these. So let's say this is Adam's mix. And this is, let's call it Joe's mix. Whatever it may be, right? And then you can label these as well. So this is my Vox, and this is my guitar. Whatever it may be. So down here in the right-hand corner is essentially what's happening on your interface. So if I hit the ID button, I can toggle dim, which will bring down the volume of your monitors quickly. You can have alt, so have your mix go to an alternative set of monitors. You have your talkback control. If you're recording an artist and they're in the vocal booth, you can toggle talkback and you can quickly talk to them through their headphone mix. You have your phase invert and sum to mono. And you also have your toggles to mute your headphone outs and your monitor outs. Now I'm going to show you how I use this right now, but before I do, I'm just going to pull up the system panel. And this is pretty much a set and forget type of thing. So if you're using a digital input, you'll set it up if it's ADAT or SPDIF. Your preferred clock source is the digital input is controlling the clock or the interface itself. Your sum to mono mode, so if you hit this mono button here, you can select if it sums to the right channel, left channel, or center channel. And here is the ID mode that we're talking about. Right now I have it set to scroll control, but you can set it to sum to mono, go to that alternate speaker, go to that talkback mode that we're talking about, really how you want to set it up. I'm going to switch it back to scroll control. And then over here is your routing. So where is 1 and 2 going? Where is 3 and 4 going? And where's outputs 5 and 6 going? Right now I have set my main outputs to my main mix, and my outputs 5 and 6 going to QA, which is the headphone mix or Adam's mix. Now the interface does have 2 headphone outputs, but it's the same output. I wish they could be individually controlled, but at the moment they are not. You also have the option to send an output through DAW through, which means you'll be monitoring what's happening in the DAW and not what's happening through the software mixer. And lastly, you got your talkback option here, which you'll select your input source. You can actually use the built-in microphone on your computer should you have it. So how would you actually use this software mixer in a live setup? So for me, my master mix is my main mix, so everything that's happening on my DAW right here. So I'd pull that up, I hear the DAW, and I'd have my vocals up here. But let's say Adam wants the DAW to be a little bit more quiet and his vocals to be a little bit higher. So I would go to Adam's mix, I would do this a little bit more quiet, and his vocals a little louder because he likes to hear himself. So if I go up at my master mix, you'll see that it's different monitoring for myself than it is for Adam. And that's how you create separate mixes via the software mixer. So that's quickly how you set up a master mix for yourself, a separate headphone mix for Adam. And if you have Joe in the studio as well, you can set up a separate mix for him as well. Maybe he's in a separate room, another room, whatever it may be. But for Joe's mix, maybe we go back to the system panel and we would change our stereos 3 and 4 to go to QB, and that will be Joe's mix, right? So that's how you would use this. The software mixer, once again, is extremely useful for live recording setups to get near zero latency recording. It's a must use if you're using these interfaces. So overall, these interfaces are really have impressed me. I mean, from the quality, based on the price point, you're getting something that's really top notch. If you're trying to decide which one to get, if you are in the market for a new interface, I would probably recommend the 14 over here. You get the extra set of outputs, the extra set of inputs, and the expandability as well with the optical input over here if you ever want to expand your inputs. So if you're looking something that has really good quality but really packs a lot of punch as from the budget perspective, then I think this should be on your short list. With that said, if you do have any questions on this, I'm happy to talk down below. If you have questions on interfaces in general, happy to talk down below. But that's it for me, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Later. Peace.